So I'm going to be honest with you guys. This video wasn't necessarily easy to make. There was a couple of things that were, already going on, but I'm really excited that we are now here. I'm ready to make the video. But one thing that I want you guys to just take the time to do is to somehow go support Chadwick Boseman. He is the actor that actually played as Black Panther in the movies. He has passed away, and it came as a total shock to pretty much everyone. What he brought to that character was something just extremely, extremely incredible. And really, to have a very, very powerful black superhero is so, so important. So I really appreciate everything he did for Marvel, everything he did as an actor in his life, and please just send out your prayers to his family. But this whole video is dedicated to him. Hello and welcome to Lord of the Board. My name is Sam Smith, and today we are going to be doing a strategy guide on Killmonger in the Marvel Villainous Boardgame. So if you have been wondering how to play him, kind of a breakdown of his cards and also a breakdown of his domain, this is going to be the video for you. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to give you guys 3 tips and strategies on how to play this character better. But first, let's talk about a little bit of what we have to do to win as Killmonger. Now, they put it simply in the player guide here, so let's go ahead and read off of that first and see exactly what we have to do in order to win with him. Now, his goal is to take control of the mines and to relocate 2 explosives to any domain other than your own. Now, how exactly do we do that? Let's continue. Alright, so first things first, what you're going to do is you're going to grab Claw and you're going to grab Control the Mines, and both of these are going to be double-sided. And what you're going to do is you're going to put Claw on top of Control the Mines. This is going to go in the area, the furthest right location of your domain. Now, the first thing that you have to do as Killmonger is kill and defeat Claw. Now, once you defeat Claw, you're going to be flipping his tile over, revealing Challenge for the Throne. When you do this, you're going to move the whole stack of tiles that you had at that location and move it over to your specialty section. Now, your next job is to complete Challenge for the Throne. Now, Challenge for the Throne allows you to pay 2 power, activate this tile in order to basically summon Black Panther from anywhere he is on the board and put him at Warrior Falls. However, if Black Panther is already in play, you're just going to relocate him, meaning that he's still going to have all the items or buffs that were already on him. But remember that Black Panther actually gets +2 strength when he's in your domain, so to opponents he's going to be 4 strength, but to you he is going to be 6. Now, once you defeat Black Panther, you're going to remove Challenge for the Throne and reveal Control the Mines, and this is going to be the last step of your victory condition. Now, once you have revealed Control the Mines, you're able to activate it in order to move these explosive cards over to other players' domain. Once you do this twice and have 2 of these explosives in other players' domains or domain, you will have won the game. But remember, if Black Panther comes back into your domain, you're going to have to flip this tile over and reveal the mines are lost, meaning that you have to defeat Black Panther again in order to flip it back over and send those explosives to your opponent's domains. And that is how you win with Killmonger. Thankfully, that is going to be the most complicated part of this video, so now let's go ahead and jump right in to his cards. So starting off, we've got Dog of War. This is a 1 power cost card with 2 strength, and you're able to play it straight into your opponent's domain, covering their actions at the top of that location that you put it onto. So this can be a really good card to slow down your opponents without necessarily fading them. You can still slow them down. So be looking out for those relocate actions for Thanos, or maybe for play a card actions for Hela, and always try to make sure that you're able to cover their best actions or the ones that they're using the most. And then we've got Rook, who is a 2 power cost with 2 strength card, and his ability is that when another ally would be defeated at Rook's location, you may remove Rook instead. Now keep in mind that this is only able to be used with your own allies. So this can be a good way for when one of your stronger allies is trying to vanquish Claw, you could just remove Rook instead to keep that strong ally on the board. The 2 power cost King card is great because he's got 4 strength. This is a very strong card that can easily defeat Claw. And when the King is played, he can relocate an item that you control in your domain to his location. The best card to use is Weapons Cache, because that combination is able to defeat Claw pretty easily, and we'll go into more detail about what this does later. Now Wakabi is a 2 power cost ally with 3 strength, and his ability is that your power cost to use an activated ability is reduced by 1. And this is a really powerful ability, but in small text under the card it states that you cannot play Wakabi if Claw is still in your domain. So this is definitely a must play once Claw is out, because this is definitely going to help you save some more power throughout the game. The earliest you can get this guy out, the better. And lastly, we've got Knight, and she's mostly just a really strong, high strength ally that can be used to kill Claw in one fell swoop. Really good idea to use Rook to make sure that this one isn't discarded if you're using her to defeat Claw. Now, moving on to his item cards, we've got Weapons Cache. This is a 1 power cost card that on your turn, you may pay up to 3 power, and for each power that you play, reduce the strength of any character at the same location as Weapons Cache by 1 until the end of the turn. So basically, this can be a great way to really hinder this strength of Claw or maybe Black Panther in order to make some of your lower cost allies defeat them easier. Now this is a great card, and I would advise playing the first one at the Golden City, but remember that you have 4 copies, so you're going to be able to have one at each location eventually. You just got to get there. And then we've got the 1 power cost Wound card. This can be used to attach to a character that you do not control in your domain, and you're able to decrease the strength of that character by 2. This can be used in conjunction with any of your allies and even some of your effect cards to easily sweep off some of the fate cards in your realm. And then we've got Hacking Rig, which is an activate card. You cannot activate Hacking Rig if you have the most power, but you are able to gain power equal to half the amount held by the player with the most power rounded up. Now I know that it's a mouthful, but it's actually pretty simple. Basically, if your opponent has more power than you, let's say you have 1 and your opponent has 3, you're able to take 2 power from them. And then we've got 3 explosives. Now these are 2 power cost cards that you must play to your domain in order to eventually be relocated to another player's domain to win the game. Now the thing about it is that they also have this ability where you're able to just straight up remove them from your domain and put them into the discard pile in order to defeat up to 2 characters at their location. Now remember, explosives cannot defeat characters with a strength of 5 or more though, so this wouldn't work for Black Panther. And now we've got Killmonger's effect cards, starting with Killmonger's Fury. This is a 2 power cost card that can defeat a character with a strength of 4 or less in your domain. This is a great way to just straight up remove opponents from your board. And this is also really good because it keeps your allies on the board, which you're going to need for other issues that are going to come up, like Black Panther, for example. And then we've got Overpower, which is a 2 power cost card that places 1 strength token on all allies in your domain. This is a super good card. You only have 1 of these, so when you get it, definitely use it, but try to make sure that you have at least 2 allies on the board. Otherwise, it's not really getting as much value as it should be. And then you've got Taunt, which is 0 cost, and you're able to relocate any character in your domain to a different location in your domain. And I usually like to use this for Black Panther and put him in a place where I'm set up to defeat him. Maybe I have a weapons cache at a location, or maybe I have a really strong high strength ally to defeat him at the location. Either way, you're going to want to remove him from one location to a different one in order to remove him from your domain. And then we've got Execute Plan, which allows you to use an activated ability. Be mindful that you only have 2 of these in your deck, so definitely don't waste them and make sure that you're using them for a big benefit. Alrighty, and now we've got his specialty cards. He's got 4 of these in his deck. The first one we're going to talk about is 0 cost, and it is the Armored Rhino. Really simple. Heroes at Killmonger's location lose 1 strength. So wherever your pawn is on the board, those heroes at the location are going to be hindered with their strength, which is really great because it's just going to make them that much easier to defeat. So really good. And then we've got the Rage of Killaluna, which is 1 power, and before moving your villain, you can discard a card from your hand to find Killmonger's Fury and then add it to your hand. And this is definitely going to be a great card as well because those Killmonger Furies are some of the best cards you have in your deck at just straight up removal. So definitely get this because then you can just use Killmonger's Fury for defeating things even if it's not necessarily the best and most optimal play. You know that you can get it back really easily. And then we've got the 3 power cost Stolen Wisdom specialty card, which says that if you have 3 or fewer cards in your hand at the end of your turn, instead of drawing cards, you may reveal cards from your deck until you reveal 2 items and add those items to your hand. This is definitely a great way to find those explosives and end the game. But in general, all of these can be played at any time because there's not really a way for them to be removed from the game once you already have them on the board. And lastly, we've got the Heart-Shaped Herb, which is a 3 power cost specialty card that just allows him to play an extra card every one of his turns once per turn. But this cannot be played if Claw is in your domain, remember that. However, this is still such a huge benefit because no matter where you're at on the board, always try to remember that you've got an extra play a card action, which can really lead to some crazy combos, especially if you're at the Institute of Technology, where you're able to play 3 cards in a single turn. And now that we have talked about his cards, let's go ahead and discuss the 4 locations in his domain. Now, starting with the Warrior Falls, we have a relocate action, a fate action, a play a card action, as well as a vanquish action. And this is going to be the only location that has a vanquish action, so this is pretty important for Killmonger. It also has that relocate action, which is the only one in your domain as well. So this is a very important location for Killmonger to keep clear throughout the game. And then we've got the Institute of Technology, which has 2 play a card actions, discard cards, and gain 3 power. This is either going to be your combo spot, or it's going to be the spot that you're going to cycle through your deck and gain a lot of power. And it really can be all 3 of those at once if used correctly and you already have some power stocked up. And then we've got the Great Mound, which gives you 1 power, lets you play a card, has an activated action that cannot be covered by your opponents, and allows you to discard cards. So another super good location, and it won't matter if you have the top covered up because you still have that activation on the bottom, which is still super good, so it doesn't lose its value easily. And then lastly, we've got the Golden City. Now you're not going to be able to use the top 2 actions for the beginning of the game because Claw will be covering these actions, but it's still a great location because you're going to be able to gain 2 power as well as fate an opponent. Now when Claw is removed, this is going to give you a second activate action and a play a card. Now this will likely be covered by your opponents because a lot of the times they don't want you to be able to activate one turn after the other, so be prepared for this spot to be covered by your opponents. And that is it for the locations in his domain. Now we are going to go through the 3 tips and strategies that I have for you. Alright, so my first strategy with Killmonger is to use these two cards in combination because they're really good. What two cards am I talking about? I'm talking about Killmonger's Fury, because it's always great, as well as the Wound card. Now with these two cards, you're able to defeat Black Panther without using any allies at all. And just in general, one thing to keep in mind is that when you're using the Wound card, you're hindering them 2 of their strength, which means that Killmonger's Fury can be used to defeat a lot of different characters now, which is absolutely awesome. So keep that in mind throughout your gameplay. Another tip and strategy is to really look ahead at your goals and try and ensure that you're completing them within a timely manner. You've basically got a 3-step process to win. So first, once you defeat Claw, remember that you're going to be summoning the Black Panther over at Warrior Falls. So instead of just focusing on one task at a time, you can start preparing to kill Black Panther over at Warrior Falls right when he gets there, by putting weapons cache there, by putting your allies there, and really be preparing for him to arrive there. What I usually like to do is that I like to defeat Claw once I already have enough strength to also defeat the Black Panther. And this can be a super good combo that will really just jump you up in your goal really, really fast. And lastly, we've got Execute Plan. Now, this is a great card that allows you to basically perform and activate action. And one of the things that I've done a couple of games is try to save both of these in my hand, and then what I try to do is play both of them on the same turn, getting both of my explosives out in one turn. And it usually comes as a complete surprise for your opponents and doesn't give them time to try and play Black Panther back at your domain, stopping you from sending those explosives out of your domain. So using all 3 of these tips, I'm sure you're going to be able to play a really good game as Killmonger. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. This has been an absolute blast to make. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and hopefully in your next game you're able to play a better Killmonger. But before you go, please drop a like as well as comment down below which villain has been your favorite so far when playing Marvel Villainous. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe if you want more content like this. I've got a lot of other ways that you guys can communicate with me. I now have a Twitch channel. I've also got an Instagram and a Twitter, so definitely go check out those after this. But that is it for the video. Let's go ahead and drop the beat.